Hello, welcome to the discussion segment of Cook Talk with AngryBlackWunmi. I am joined by my beautiful mother. I had other adjectives to use, but I thought not to. And the amazing guest who my mom has brought along, Mr. Femi Akinpelu. I like that because it's got like a little in the middle, but that's a discussion for another day. We're here with the beautiful Eba and Egusi that I've cooked in the kitchen. I'm actually excited to eat this. Yeah, you can dig in. My mum's hand's been twitching for a minute still, so go, mummy. Tell me how great I am in the kitchen. Tell me how my egusi tastes better than yours.
You learned well from the master.
Wow, energy. Uncle, right,
like
so,
I said earlier,
yeah.
you pronounced my surname very well, meaning you will do good, and you actually did well. This is good.
Oh, this is so good. Right, so today's discussion is politics in Nigeria, and just what us as the diasporans and the youth can do to help Nigeria move forward, how we can, work towards Nigeria becoming a better place, if we can do that. Yeah, and I'm just going to kind of let them lead the conversation, and I'm just going to put in my perspective as a younger generation as opposed to them who are old and still have their older mindsets towards the discussion. I'm just going to put it to the floor. What do you think? What are your views, your thoughts on the current state of Nigeria as a country, if we can call it that?
Well, my thoughts to the current state of Nigeria as a country is there's a lot of mayhem going on. And it's really because we've gotten quite a few things wrong, which is education for one and the mindset. And well, until we change the mindset, like I always tell you, we're going nowhere.
I think the mindset is a major thing.
Yes, so
I completely agree with that.
But I look at a lot of the things I know about Nigeria is from the social media, and from what I see. But then Femi here knows more because he's on ground, and we've had some discussions on day in day out. Himself and one other friend of mine, Godwinokwe, they tend to see what I don't see. And I think they have a clearer picture of what is happening.
And that's because they're in Nigeria.
Because they're in Nigeria, but because they're also looking at it from a neutral perspective, as opposed to what is happening with a lot of Nigerians is every perspective they give is self-motivated.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would really like to hear what he has to say. I think we would learn a thing or two from him.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. The melanin tea. It's my pleasure being here, and I want to say a big thank you to Kofo for facilitating these moments in the course of my vacation of this year. I appreciate you. Like we always say, I think we always engage ourselves when it comes to Nigerian politics. You're like, Femi, what I'm seeing on social media is not the same thing that you're telling me. And I will tell you, well, like you have said, I think there's a language on online news called trolling. There's something about my understanding of what trolling means is you get some people to sit down to push through your thought process and your own opinion, even when they are not correct.
Yeah.
Which give birth to the fake news stuff that goes around.
Yeah.
I was on the bus at Tollington bus stop.
Okay.
The other day, and I saw a banner about fake news not being something. I said, oh, so it's a
From
global
fake
it's a global
Facebook.
phenomenon.
Yeah.
I was thinking it's something that was just restricted to us because of
No. Fake
what
news is
our
everywhere.
politicians are up to and what they have been doing. Before now, we had a system that encouraged mediocrity. We had a system that was pushed by godfathers.
Mm.
You needed to know somebody to talk for you to get something done. But today, we're having a system that is moving away from that, a total paradigm shift. We have a leader today that is telling the country we cannot keep doing things the way we have been doing them.
Sorry, can I just interject? Which leader are we talking about here?
The current president, Buhari.
Mm.
I think it's it's not a problem per se, but it's his outlook to life.
Okay.
He's not up to speed with what the social media, how to use it, and I think his handlers are also to be blamed for that.
Mm.
They are not good with what they are doing. Mm-hmm. The man is doing a lot, and he has done a lot in the country.
Is he?
Yes, infrastructure development. So many abandoned
Where?
in the country.
Where in the country? You see, the reason I'm asking these questions is because obviously what we see as youth of, first generation parents that have been here. So obviously we know that Nigeria is home, but what we're seeing in the media of what Buhari is doing is nothing. Like I speak as someone that has a lot of friends that are still in Nigeria, or that are in Nigeria because I went to school there. So I've kind of got, if you want to call it, best of both worlds. I have friends that are here that have their views, but I have a lot of friends that are still in Nigeria, and I've not heard one person tell me that there's anything Buhari is doing in Nigeria that's good.
Without trying to be insulting or anything.
Mm-hmm.
You're from vis-a-vis Nigerian context. You're from a very privileged background.
Okay.
And those your friends that are giving you that information
Yeah.
are also privileged children.
Okay, fair enough. Touche. Okay.
What has brought them that far to have enjoyed that privilege that you are getting from a system that works?
Yeah.
I'm sure this apartment is yours. You pay from a process that makes it easy for you to pay. You don't buy off at once. Your mom will not need to pick up a political appointment, drain a ministry or state's finances to buy a house for you in London.
No.
Okay. Now, those friends of yours, this is fun talk. Those friends of yours are children of privileged people. Now, privilege in what sense? They are not members of the Silicon Valley. They own no businesses that you can identify them with.
Yeah.
Just okay, maybe you've got some few old money bagged friends.
If at all.
But in Nigeria today, tell me which of the industries are working over the years. There are no family monies that you can easily trace back to in the recent past that is not politically based. So those children are complaining because their fathers are no longer having access to the till to give them the kind of luxurious lifestyles they have been having.
I'm spinning, but he's not lying. Wow. Oh shit.
Yes, and
excuse my French, but that's so true.
Yeah, that is what is happening in the country today.
And that's why there's so much
noise. That's why there's so much noise. The past government constructed a railway station, a railway line from Abuja to Kaduna.
I didn't even know there were functioning trains in Nigeria.
No, there are functioning trains in Nigeria today.
Now.
And then when this man came in and commissioned it, finished it up and commissioned it. You know what they said? It's commissioning the project we started. Oh, we had done it to 95% completion before he came on board. So what has he done? He has no ideas. He's not coming up with new projects of his own. He's completing our projects because he's clueless. Is that not sickening? Is that the way to reason? Government is supposed to be a continuum.
Yeah.
He came in, he saw projects that were almost completed, but out of greed, they abandoned it, took money for those projects, and never executed them. Those your friends, I'm sure, were children of ministers of yesterday that would buy new Range Rover Sports without earning a dime. They send them to the best schools, They come back home without anything to show
And
for
they travel
it.
first class.
And they travel first class.
Oh, the tea is mad hot. Why is it hot? Wow.
Are they are supposed to do that on their parents' hard-earned sweat, not on our common patrimony, not on our common wealth. So today, if you see them screaming, it's because it's not going the way, or it's no longer going their way. So you see, some of us that actually the fan of this man, we know what hard work means. Your mommy knows me very well. I won't take what I feel I've not worked for. No, I don't believe in that. And every system that works well makes it possible for you to get what is yours without breaking your back. I'm sure you can testify. A lot of them are no longer coming for vacation as they used to come again.
Are you guys coming for holiday?
In Nigeria? Okay, you're asking them, please do. If I've forgotten that we are supposed to be on the show, I'm just pouring out the thing the way it is in my spirit and my soul.
No, but you're right. You're actually.
So you see, in
very,
the social
very
media, those guys are good. Look at what you're doing. Every click fetches you something. Am I wrong?
No.
A lot of them will not do this. I was asking your mom what you studied while we were about eating, and she said product design engineering. And I said, oh, what you're doing is not far from it. This is a product you're trying to design and sell to the world outside there. Some other person, I was like, maybe you read mass comm or something. When she told me what you studied, I was able to put it together. Your friends that came from Nigeria to go to the same school with you, go check them out. A lot of them, a whole lot of them are not doing anything. They got good education. Yes, we see a lot of that in Abuja then.
They drive posh cars, they buy
Posh cars.
designers.
Today in Nigeria, you don't know who is a minister's child. But before now, all you need to do is go to one of those high-class pubs. You will know who and who is there. But today, even the ministers today are not enjoying it. The offices are not as, in our parlance, as lucrative as it used to be. Girls of defection, why are they defecting? What is wrong with the system? Before they start defecting from one party to the other, though the parties are without ideologies. Nothing to know. You can't say this is a leftist, this is a rightist party. It's just like Iruwa or Giriwa. In fact, like what we did with the egusi soup, all the ingredients.
Everything just came together.
Everything just coming together.
One pot.
One pot. If I think the egusi is even making much more sense because you will not be able to separate everything we have here again. But with them, you can actually pick them out because of their self-interests. They are moving. And when you ask them, why are you moving? What's the problem? Oh, spate of killings in Benue. But since the day the governor defected, I think not until yesterday, maybe they just woke up from their slumber. Oh, our script that we have been acting, we need to do something. People were killed somewhere. And it's so painful. I tell people, they will say, no, the president is not securing the nation. People are dying. One, Nigeria is a very, very big, vast, rural country. Access to so many things are not there. And two, the president is not in any way and should not be connected with the killings. The president is not a politician. He's not. He's not a politician in the context of our Nigerian politician.
You see, there are two things you've said there that I'm going to question.
Okay.
Firstly, how you can say that you said, oh, I've forgotten, you literally...
He's not responsible for the killings.
No, the one you said prior to that. We don't have access, in Nigeria they don't have access to so many things. But isn't that the job of the government?
It is not my thinking, my day.
So access to education, access to healthcare, access to social housing is not the work.
No, it is the work of that. Those are basically the work. Access to
healthcare, education,
And
social
housing.
My take on what governance should be. You know what we do in Nigeria? We use bulk of our capital vote to tar roads.
Yeah, but then do people, okay, first question, and this is a genuine, do you pay taxes in Nigeria?
No, people do not pay taxes. It's even this regime that is trying to make sure people do the right thing. We see the oil, because of the way we get the oil from the ground, we think is bring it out, sell it, and let's just spend the money. But it goes beyond that. You know, crude oil sales is one of the most, in fact, minerals found in the ground is, if a society is not organized, usually turns out to be a curse.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that
Rather
society
than
is
a
a
blessing.
blessing.
Had a lot of people say
Yes,
that.
because you sit back, people come to buy acreages. That is the land where the oil is. They pay you for the land before exploration. When they come, they carry out the exploration activities, determine the volume of crude oil, determine the volume of minerals in that particular acreage. When they are through with that, they pay you to also do that. They pay the government, the people to also do that. When they are through with that, they now bring in their equipment to drill. When they are through drilling, they sell. You now share the profit of what you have sold, 60-40, depending on what the joint venture agreement is.
Yes, yeah.
What does that mean? Meaning, all you need to do as a leader is, if you do not have vision, is just sit back and wait for that money to come. And then the way and manner you spend it, you feel you're not responsible to anybody.
Yeah.
Because they are not even involved in how the money comes. But if it's a system that pays tax and when they should, they would call those leaders to question.
Yeah.
And that is what is happening in Lagos State today. Lagos is, you will pay your tax, we'll give you the basic amenities that will make life easy for you. So you see, because they're actually doing their bit, people are eager to pay their taxes.
What are the taxes? And these questions are things I want to ask based on things I've seen on social media. Obviously, that's...
And like I said, you should be
really
careful with things you get
No,
from social
absolutely.
media.
But then that's also
They're coming
only
from jaundiced opinion, one-sided opinion.
The very, very... That's a fair point. But for instance, I saw quite a while back, like a notice or something, or a bill or an invoice, I don't know what it was, of the tax for the land that their house was on, and then their rent
Land
and everything. And it was like, why was the money that they were being told to pay the government for their house being there or existing on this land or whatever it is that tax was for, more than the cost of the house? Is there any limit to, okay, you're taxed 10% or 5% of whatever, or is it just any number that governor that day decides to throw out?
That was what I was going to tell you, that wherever you got that information for, the person most probably might be whipping up sentiments. Tax are based on codes, and they are usually an act of parliament. So you mean the parliament will just sit down and say, oh, Mr. Governor, you can tax these people whatever you want to tax them. There
I've
would be a
seen
code.
many videos of the Nigerian parliament, and I don't really think all they do is fight.
You see, until recently, before now, you just...
So I'm just saying.
I think we're just moving. Okay, but let's do it as it's coming. Before now, we had a parliament that felt they were working, because anytime the president needs anything to be done, he gets to bribe them first. You get to take money.
Which was what was happening under Jonathan's government.
Okay.
Even Obasanjo's government. You need to bribe them. If you want to change the leadership, you need to take money to them.
Yeah.
Now, let us also not forget something. Nigeria, all those things you see on social media, Nigeria is not moving, is not working. I wonder why. Is it within 3 years that we expect all these things to be sorted out? If it had not worked in the last 16 years, you mean it's supposed to take us just 3 years to get all these things sorted out? Like I said when we started, the people handling the publicity of the president are not doing a good job.
Obviously not.
I've gone around every state in Nigeria by virtue of what I do, and I know, without being too one-sided. Yes, I like the man, but at the same time, I see his fault where his faults are.
Yeah.
There's no government since we started our democratic dispensation. At least that we've grown up. We know the difference from we know what we should know. There's no government that has done much like this government. Because first thing first, when they come in, before Obasanjo left, he sold the refineries to Dangote and a clique of guys. As soon as Yaradua came, he resigned it.
Yeah, he was president for some time, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he was ill.
Why was he even...
Not just some time, for like 2.5 years, almost 3. 2.5 years.
I totally forgot about him, but okay.
When he came in, he resigned all those decisions.
The sales.
it knocked the sales off. One, that was even illegal in the first place.
What, him knocking the sales off?
Yes, because it was supposed to have been a tentatively agreed transaction. An agreed transaction.
An agreed transaction, okay.
So how would you just come and use presidential fiat to knock it off? One, it will scare investors away in the long run. They were like, oh, these people do not adhere to the rules. They behave anyhow, they do things just the way they think they should get it done.
So they should have thought it through before they sold it.
They should have thought, and then after selling, there was no justification for knocking off the agreement. If they had left it, who knows? Maybe Dangote would have gotten those refineries running today. And if he had not gotten them running, maybe he would have sold them off as scraps. I will know they are not existing. But something would have given way, and it would have given birth to something new. When Buhari came in, before Goodluck left, he sold out what we used to call NEPA. You know what NEPA means? It's called in Nigeria. Then, okay, now it was unbundled into 3 different agencies. You've got the generating arm, the Gencos, the transmission companies, the companies that transmit the power. That was retained by government. They sold out the Gencos, the generating arm, and the distributing arm, the discos. So when Buhari came in, the guys have been performing under par. In fact, till today, they are still performing under par. Because when they bought it, they had their friends in government. They were using government money to run their private. Because after selling it becomes a private business. But they were still taking money from government to run it. Yes, government still owns 40% of those agencies. But 40% is not controlling shares. You're expected to bring in what is commensurate with your shares. When Buhari came in, a lot of thought, knock it off, the deals were faulty from the onset. Said, no, we're not building institutions that way. Let them run their companies. But they will definitely not get government money to run it. They have to go and look for money. Those guys recently, I saw them making a lot of noise, conspiracies and all the rest, trying to point accusing fingers, trying to point back, trying to transfer their non-performance back to government, that they are not performing because government is not assisting them. If government is going to assist every business, that means a whole lot of us we are not even supposed to be in business. And that was why I said our parties lack ideology. Are we going to be capitalists? Do you want to practice communism? We should define it. So if it is communism, we know government owns everything. If it is capitalism, government just take care of the basic things we need: good healthcare, good education, and I think those are about just basically good social. That's why I said healthcare, education, and an effective social welfare package.
But then there's also things like transportation.
No, transportation is supposed to be by regulation. I'm sure even your transport systems, they are not owned by government.
Transport for London contracts out a lot of the private sector,
they take their whatever their shares will be, put it back in the government coffers, and the private sector actually are responsible for day-to-day running, and that's why it's efficient. There's no way on earth. That was why Russia failed. There's no way on earth that government gets involved in business and it succeeds.
Okay, fair dues.
So you see, what we're having in Nigeria today, all those your friends, like I said, it's not business as usual again.
The tap is being shut off.
Shut gradually. In fact, I think the man did not even. We expected that I was going to come in and just shut it at once. But I think, they still have people in government that will be giving advices. No, let us turn it off gently, let us do this. If you look at the Senate president, sit down, take a deep breath, look at what he's asking for.
Sorry, please pause. Who is the Senate president?
Bukola Saraki.
What does the Senate president do?
He's the leader of our legislature.
Okay.
We've got to bicameral legislation.
Because we use the American system.
We're using the American system.
We use any system but ours, but go off.
Yeah, because I think we used to use the British system, which is the parliamentary. And then they changed it to...
Okay, so prior to the British coming, what were we using? Because
Nigeria was not a country before Nigeria.
Okay, then these are things that it's like...
We're
so when we were
countries.
using... Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I get that. But in the sense that when they were using the British parliamentary, because I know for a fact Nigeria obviously was a great country, not even decent, up until a certain point. What was the turning point for Nigeria?
I don't understand. I don't get that. The turning point as at what
point did everything start going downhill? Because Nigeria, I'm not gonna say years or like when, but I know there was a time where Nigeria had good roads and it had good education systems and it was a country that people went to and it had amazing infrastructure and it was doing amazing in itself. When did we go from being a country that was on the map for good things to just being an absolute shithole, for a better word?
Using Donald Trump's language.
Oh my God! Oh no! No.
To make sure that goes on like
No. It sounds horrible, and I'm sure there are people that are going to be like, it's easy for you to say that you're there in London doing living your best life.
I think we did not answer your question.
Okay, let me not say shithole, but
no,
Nigeria has definitely gone downhill.
No, but you're very right about that. But when Donald Trump said it, I never disputed that.
There's the oil boom. It's really about what he said before. It's vision, and because the thing is, for instance, we are children of the oil boom. The secondary school we went to was built from the proceeds of oil and all of that, and the military were in government and they created a school.
So maybe the military needs to come back.
With the vision that they were going to raise leaders, right? But even those schools now have gone down the drain. So it's really about, okay, the oil money, you're getting money and you're not prudent with it. You're making money and you're not prudent with it. And then we also have a very bad maintenance culture.
Oh, I was saying this when I was in Mexico.
Yes.
It is crazy.
Our
like the
maintenance
resort I was
culture
at, there's none.
is crazy.
Yeah.
So because we don't have that, it's look, simple things. I remember when you guys were in Drew Primary School. You know, you went
Mom,
from.
how are you gonna name my whole primary school? Just when we were.
You went from the old building that was pre-war building
World War II,
to a brand new building because they wanted to create the city airport
station.
Station. And you moved from there to the. And I remember that while you went into that school, so it was built. We were all there when it was built. I think you spent 2 years in that building.
Yeah, I think so.
And then, because your sister went there, but I know that Bangon, I think, was it 4 years or 5 years, because your younger siblings went there too. There was one holiday and they were excavating. And I thought, what's happening?
Yeah.
They were actually taking out the toilet system, the soccerways, and they were taking it to rebuild a new one because it is children. It is used year round. They've calculated that in 5 years, that system needed rehauling. Yeah. So they were remaking it. And then it now takes me back to my secondary school in Nigeria, which was established in 1977. And the soccerways, up until somebody that finished in 87 was telling me when we brought these issues up, that actually before he left in 87, that the soccerways used to fill up behind the boys' hostel. I didn't even know that. Oh, it's not a thing of
and the same soccer way is still there.
And the same soccer way is still there in 2018.
Wow.
And that's where you've turned out children, you've turned out generals, you've turned out all kinds of. So you see, it's just the maintenance culture, and we don't see it as a big deal.
It's
so
the
it's
same
the
with
little
the
things
Nigerian
and
Airways
the Nigerian Airways.
Airports.
I'm sure you saw the scandal of the police college.
You don't build something on nothing. Outside, I think the maintenance culture that we're even looking at is even far from the mark with what our problems are. We don't sit down. Yeah, we don't even sit down to conceptualize what we want to do well, do the design before we even build. Now, why do we do that? Somebody, like I said earlier, because government is the biggest spender, somebody feels it's his birthright. When you give out a job for, let's say, 1 million naira, somebody feels that job should be done with 100,000 naira, and then 900,000 naira should be brought back, let them share. Or in fact, let him sit on. So in the long run, somebody did another person must have done the design that came up with the costing for 1 million naira. and then the man in charge tells the contractor, go and use 100,000 naira to do it. What do you think will come out from such a project?
Shit. Nothing. Rubbish. Nonsense.
So there won't even be anything for you to maintain. It was designed to fail. And you know, it was designed to fail so that next appropriation year, another money will be budgeted for the same project. So it becomes a vicious cycle that you need a very tough man, a very tough spirit
to break.
That is what is happening now.
You see, that's crazy, but I just want to steer off because I don't want us to speak on one thing for too long. Yesterday, there was a tweet. I think it was like a congratulatory thing or something. I can't remember what platform it was from. But there were like 7 girls that won a competition of some sort.
5 girls.
5 girls.
Passes.
Yes, they won was it a science competition?
An app design.
Yes, an app design. And obviously, you know how these Nigerian blogs take it and congratulate them on all of that. And someone on Twitter quoted it and said, and this is someone that is obviously second generation Nigerian that's here. And he said, it's a shame that the government won't nurture their talents. And as much as we talk about, obviously, people being in Nigeria and being used to having things handed to them and all these things, when there are genuine people in Nigeria with talents that could literally, and I'm talking the future generation that could potentially turn Nigeria around, their talents are not nurtured. Their talents are not, they're not given the guidance and the support to turn their talents into tangible things that we can use to better the country. And I feel like that's one of Nigeria's biggest undoings.
Let me answer your question with a question. How does government
Typical Nigerian man, he said,
yeah. Sometimes,
with a question.
Yes. How does government help a child to nurture his or her talent?
Same way it's
in
done
your
here.
society. No,
Same
just
way
tell me what's done in your society.
Okay,
Explain
so
it to me.
Right, so there's so many things that can be done, you know. There's I can't give specific examples here, but there's things like community projects.
You know, I asked that question.
Why?
We jump quickly.
No, but the government does do things here. Mommy, I'm going to need your help here. Don't do this to me. Don't just sit there and don't sit on.
Do you know what my definition of government? Do you know what my definition of government is? Okay,
maybe government is not the right thing, but there are no bodies. There are no governing
bodies.
The
society.
Yes, it's not just society though, because obviously a lot of people in not to say it's a lot, but there are people, just to say that nobody cares.
What she's trying to say is
helping
you know what I'm doing.
Because you really put me on the spot there.
Thank you very much. That was what I wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
I was going to use that her friend's tweets. I wanted to get the friend's thought process. If the friend truly has a solution to
I'm not saying we have solutions,
but
I
look
at it from a sense of, like, growing up with my athletics, I had athletic clubs and athletic bodies that were sponsored by the borough and stuff.
By the what?
People
the borough
money, there are monies that are allocated.
You know.
Boroughs. Okay, so here in there's obviously the UK government, but then each
area, like local government.
The boroughs.
Yes, the boroughs. They put
local government.
Exactly. So and then they nurture the children within that borough that are like, okay, this person can run, this person could potentially be an Olympian, this person can go on to do this person is good at maths, we can nurture this person, they could become the greatest mathematician that comes out of Lewisham, this person can do that. They're given funding and they're helped, whether it's by putting them in the direction of people already within that industry, putting them in the right spotlight, getting them in front of sponsors. Exactly. None of that is created for the youth in Nigeria.
From everything you have said, what government does is, I think today I'm finding myself in a very uncomfortable spot. I'm speaking like a pro-government. I do a lot of bashing to government. She knows. I don't spare them. But I think when you are outside to put things in proper perspective, you must drop your personal opinion on issues and say the truth the way it is. From everything you have said, what government does is create an enabling environment for talent to be discovered. Yes, it's not discovered because, one, like we said, we've agreed to something. We've got deficiency in good governance in Nigeria. It did not start today. It did not start 3 years ago. It started even before they left us. What you're saying about the oil bill, no, even the contraption called Nigeria was designed to make sure. When I was in my union, my student activism, during my student activism, I was an anti-West. I would say everything they did for Africa, and I still stand by that. If you look at Africa, a nation with immense potential, but it's actually about the poorest. It's not about it's the poorest. It's the poorest continent on earth.
And that's because of the West, hands down.
Hands down.
I agree with that completely.
Somebody was telling me the story of
the worst thing that happens to Africa as a continent is the West colonizing us.
Rotherhite.
The Rotherhite tunnel.
Yeah. One, I think it was a Sierra Leone or Gambian. Last year when we came for vacation, it was like, oh, a lot of African sweat went into building this. Resources.
Everything here, Africans and Caribbeans.
When I went to Oxford, what do you call Westminster Abbey, I saw all the buildings, 16 something, 200-300 years old building, solid marble, standing firm and strong. I'm not like, where are the marble quarries around here? So you see, it's exploitation.
Of course,
we know that. And what is so painful is, like, the topic of your discourse is supposed to be youth and what diaspora can do. The youth, in all fairness, our youth are very intelligent, very resourceful. These 5 girls have shown you what we can do, given a level playing ground. In fact, look at you guys here.
Like you're asking.
Look at you guys with the opportunities you have there. A lot of you are doing far better than their children. But the youth also are the bane of they are responsible for our problems.
There's nothing.
You need to expatiate on that. She won't agree with you.
You know, Nigerians have always been. Nigeria as a nation. All our leaders have always been young men.
Yeah. Do you know the key word there? It's not young, it's men.
Who?
Men. Patriarchy ruins everything. Continue.
But you had Desiani as all minister. What did she do?
She
was worse than
so was
men.
her husband.
No.
I don't want to heavy. Don't give. No, okay. You're giving me one woman. Mom, don't do it. You're giving me one woman in the midst of how many men? And I'm not.
Okunjo-Iweala was also there.
2 women. Your point still don't stop.
No, I'm not going to go into this your gender issue that you're.
Okay.
I'm talking about men as in leaders.
Okay, but then your point was. Your point was it's the youth that are the bane, and then you then went on to say all our leaders were young men. All our leaders were young men. It's not the fact that they were young men, because if you were giving women,
all our leaders were young people.
We had women.
They had strong women that were their backbones then that didn't really tell them the truth. I agree with you. Women are actually a strong tool in building a good society.
Absolutely, because if you look at the ancient African what are they called? The what's the like the Egyptians, all the ancient.
You don't even need to go far. Margaret Thatcher was one here.
I don't want to use the West as an example. All the
Cleopatra.
I'm talking like the communities you had in Africa.
Queen of Sheba.
A lot of them were matriarchal societies. And this is not. I'm not one of these feminists that will be like, oh no, women will change the world. Women are amazing, and women are, but men. It's men, because a lot of if you look at everything, wars, everything is men. But that's all. I'm really going off on a tangent here. But the fact that you said young men, I just wanted to point out that the key word was men.
Young people.
But
they had women too involved in the early days politics, but they were all very young. They
had their wives. The military boys had their wives.
This is what I'm saying. It wasn't the. You had the women there that they may have been. They may have been visible, so they may have been seen.
I don't want to be caught in any gender war.
They may have been visible, but they were not the ones making the decisions.
Okay,
the women were not the ones making the decisions.
They were the ones in Nigeria. Those women were the ones making the decisions. Oh, yeah. They were ensuring that decisions made were taken.
But the long and short of it is about the fact
What I'm
that
saying about the
these
youth,
people came in as youths,
Okay.
they came in as youth, as young people.
as young as 27.
Yes. What did they do with it? Then today we see some set of uninformed and very unintelligent people screaming on social media that the youth are being left out. And when you ask them, marshal your point, define what you mean by being left out, it boils down to one thing: getting rich.
I agree there.
That is all it boils down to. That is the only thing our youth thinks political office should be for.
Well, I want to be a
It
politician.
is called to
so I can be
service. You want to be?
rich. A politician so I can be rich.
No, I want to be rich first before becoming a politician.
Oh, I like that.
So that
But I'm
that
joking,
4
I
8
don't-
years I will go take office, I know a little part of me is sacrifice. My business may suffer, but I would not want my family to suffer. So I want to make sure they are very good. In fact, not my family now. Just let's not say family, because the children would have been trained to go fend for themselves. So I think I want my legacy not to suffer. So if I go into politics, I want to be very, as in not just rich, very, very rich before I go into politics. So that when I get there, nothing is going to be of any attraction to me. Very,
rich.
very.
Oh,
Okay, I think maybe more like Donald Trump.
wow. But I understand you.
This man is laughing. So that I can call the bluff of people. I'll tell them things the way I want to say it, and I get them to do things to move the society the way it should be done.
So you're trying to tell me Donald Trump is moving society the way it should be moved?
I think, you see, I never liked him. I never liked him.
You're saying
But-
never liked him.
But
Liked
I,
past tense. so you like him.
recently, I've been
You
thinking.
might have to cut the cameras, guys.
Maybe we should do that. But let's talk off camera now. Recently, if you look at the statistics coming out from America, it's making a lot of sense. His approach.
Okay, we're not having this discussion.
Yeah,
No, we're not doing that.
So for that, for diasporans, what you can do.
Here we go. Go back to the topic. We're
I'm
not
not
discussing
forgetting the topic.
Yeah.
What you can do. You blog like you now. I can call this a blog.
It's a talk. I suppose it's. I don't know what I'd call it. It's just a project I put out to bring awareness to a variety of things. Yes.
Okay. You can actually start like you now. You can start with this program to help talk to the youths, get a balanced perspective on what is happening in Nigeria,
And like him.
and put it out there.
Yeah.
Let the world see. We need a lot of people to do this. In Nigeria, journalism is not free. For you to even cover government programs, they expect government to pay. If you look at channels TV, they were doing fantastic job because they were not biased. You guys in diaspora get the information right.
Yeah.
And help put the truth out there. The world needs to know.
Yeah.
When I gave you a point that you agree with, so those are your friends, you can actually take them up on it. Ask them what their fathers were doing that they are no longer doing now, to give them the luxury they were enjoying the upload, because that's basically why they are crying today. So that's my take on what you guys in diaspora. I would not say bring your money and come and invest.
Well, because the thing is, even when they ask those questions, you see, the way the social media is there's so much of abuse and there's no decency in it. When they're even asking those questions, it's like you're boxing them to the corner, because then they can't answer it, but then it becomes a personal thing.
Yeah.
No
one answers these questions objectively. They also answer
everybody answers it to suit their purpose and their needs.
But we'll know the truth in the long run.
Yeah, but then the thing is, when you put out lies long enough, sometimes it starts to sound like the truth.
Yeah.
This is why you're right, and I still think that the handlers of this government are not showing enough of what they're doing.
They're also not making the kind of money people that held those offices in the past made. So one,
they're not interested in doing it.
Motivation is low to them. They've forgotten that government is called to service.
This is what I'm saying. So it's like these people are not in government because They care about the country, which is like the only reason you should be in a power of any kind of position for any
A
nation.
lot of people
If
are
you're
in
not
it
A lot of the people even in government, in Buhari's government today, are
Are
not
in it
there.
for
They are in it for
themselves.
themselves.
yeah, and
And
this
because
is,
they're
this
not
is why
getting
the
what they are
country's
supposed to
failing.
get,
They want the government to fall.
but at the same time, Buhari alone cannot do it.
Of course.
Let him use them. Over time, the wheat will surely be separated from the chaff. Over time, people will come into government and governance for selfless service. But for now, you should make do with what is available. The
But what they're
electorate,
saying is, oh, he shouldn't
My
be
dear.
working with them if he says it's clean, which is, you know, I asked you a question. I always see on social media where they say this government has borrowed something trillion compared to what the last government borrowed.
I explained it to
I
you.
don't have the exact figures, but what exactly is it? Is this government? I hear that you are saying they've paid off debts, and they have
who
not
has paid
borrowed.
off debt?
Buhari has paid
No,
off.
Buhari cannot pay. Buhari should not even think of paying off debt. Obasanjo paid off debt.
Okay, so but are they really borrowing more than they
Yeah.
are purporting? They've said that he's borrowed 3 times what Jonathan borrowed in his
It's a lie.
tenure. Okay, so what is it
Okay.
with the
The
borrowing?
total debt.
So the answer to that, sorry, quickly, was it's a lie. Am I correct? It's a lie.
Big fat lie.
It's a big fat lie. We can't elaborate on that because we don't have the luxury of the time.
Oh.
But whoa, it's a lie.
Where is the truth?
Where's
It's
the
on
truth?
Google.
The truth is
I
the
don't
truth
even
is on
think-
verified sites. You can just Google Nigeria's debt profile. It will bring it up from 2003, 2000. In fact, it will bring it up from independence with graphs. You'll see everything is there.
Okay.
Okay, so how we're gonna conclude this is, I feel like this is a topic that is very nuanced. It's hard to come to a single conclusion just because it is. We're not just talking like about a borough. We're literally talking about a whole nation that is made up of a whole group of sub nations, and it's all a bit mad. I'm actually really grateful for this conversation. I think like it's going to be one of many conversations I plan to have with varying people about the state of Nigeria and how to go about it. This is not me wanting to be a politician because I want to be rich. This is just me bringing awareness of conversations we need to be having, because I do see it come up a lot on social media where people are like, oh, Nigeria this, Nigeria that, this country needs a this country needs a that, the politicians need to die. So much, and I've also been someone to say it, but it's a thing where it's like, I have personally said in the past that, oh, if we all went back to Nigeria, we put our stuff together, all our resources and the knowledge we have together, we could make it a better place. But realistically, we probably can't. And there's more to it than us just all packing up our bags and leaving a white man's land and going back. It's something that's very ingrained in us. There's a lot of unlearning to do. There's a lot of relearning to do. There's a lot of mindset changing to do. Like Fela said, there's a lot of us that have colonial mentality. Kolo mentality, as Uncle Fela said. And it's a bit mad, to be very, very honest. I'm very grateful for my mum and her friend joining me. Quickly before we go, what would you rate the food out of 10? Tell the camera.
Out of 10, I'll give you an 8 because I'm a perfectionist.
He winked at me.
Many shades.
Also because there's no fish, no meat, no shaki, no bokota, no abodi. All those things are missing. So really, I should be giving you a 7 actually.
Bye. Uncle.
Now, I'm going to stay with the 8. Fine. No, you're not going to get 10. You want me to get 10.
I tried.
You
tried.
still have a lot of learning to
I
do.
tried.
But you did a good job here. So I'm giving you 8.
I'm gonna keep composed. I'm going to thank you all for watching another episode of Cook Talk with AngryBlackWunmi. This is actually the last episode of this season. I'm very grateful for everyone that is tuning in to watch. Please remember to like, share, share, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you on season 2 of Kofo. Thank you.